then make sure to play our giveaway clip. You ready, Paul?
Yes. Good job, Tess.
And now it's time to announce this week's live technology giveaway winner. As noted in the contestant rules, all winners must be present in the chat room to claim the prize, or a new winner will be drawn. Drum roll, please.
Okay, so Tess is going to draw a winner. You're doing great, Tess.
Thank you. All right, Claire Peters. Is that a female? One should never assume, but Claire Peters,
gosh.
are you in the chat? Okay, let me pull us back
Claire
up
Peters.
here.
Congratulations, Claire. We're so happy for you to win a joystick controller that'll work with not just PTZOptics cameras, but these actually do work with Sony cameras and Panasonic cameras, all kinds of cameras. They use the Sony Visca protocol. So it's a little technical, but we are also here to help. So
Absolutely.
we'd be happy to help you set it up.
Yes.
And you can actually control multiple cameras. That's another thing that's kind of cool, is that you can control more than one. You
It
can
helps
control
you
like 200.
organize your production, in my eyes. And I'm finally starting to learn it properly, but it's actually pretty easy once you get the hang of it. It makes things a lot easier.
Yep.
Rather than, you know.
The joystick.
Yeah. Rather than all the presets on the remote, sometimes that can be finicky.
Yeah,
And they're
getting
fun.
a smooth PTZ with four, they're just fun.
All
just
right.
fun.
Claire Peters is
that's
under her
great.
Arts Resource Center channel, and she or he
Ah.
is here. I don't want to assume.
Wonderful.
But Claire
Well,
is
that
here.
is great to hear.
Congratulations.
I'm so happy that you're here and you're live and you win. So congratulations. I'm so happy. So are you happy with? You know what? I'm also really happy with, Tess.
What?
We haven't made a single mistake yet.
Yeah. We haven't
We
had,
have-
except
that-
for me not having any good questions for those guys, but
No.
Besides
no.
that.
We have not made a single mistake. And so Tess is pretty much running the show. I am just sending her a video feed, from the show floor here. So Tess is doing all the work. And
good thing I didn't assume, because Claire is a guy. I should have known with the spelling.
Oh,
Well, I hope I didn't offend you.
Claire is a guy. That's funny.
I'm sure if I would have seen you, I
Well,
would have known. Okay,
you were
142
hopeful,
Productions has said that they have an odd question. Do you have weather
Okay.
housings available for the cameras, or do you partner with another manufacturer?
That is a great question, and it's something that I should have came prepared for with a little video or something. Yes, we do partner with another manufacturer named DotWorks. So DotWorks, DOTZWORKS. I think that's it, or the Z might be at the end, but it's called DotWorks. And the housing that they've certified for us is the D3 model.
D3.
It's either the D3 or the D2. I'm sorry. It's either D2 or D3. And there is definitely information on our website about it. And it's on the sidebar of PTZOptics.com. You'll see outdoor camera enclosure. We did a video about it and everything. Pat, sit down. And you got it. Is your lead scanner working? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Are those two back
Um,
questions hooked up?
So yes, the answer is yes. There's a really great outdoor camera housing. You could put a heater and blower in there if you're in a abnormally cool or abnormally hot environment.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to do it.
I can see a lot of people needing that. Giorgio says, I want to buy 8 cameras to use in the plenary of the camera. I'm not familiar with that word because I'm still learning. Maybe Paul is. And then 2 in the radio
Let me see if I
studio.
can see it in the chat.
In the studio for
Oh.
newspapers and interviewers. What is the best way, IP or SDI?
Definitely SDI.
SDI.
IP is there, and you can use it, but SDI is going to be the most reliable and high-quality video signal that you can get, and the IP is there for the IP joystick. You can use our open source control software, so you can program the camera to do whatever you want on a web browser. You can pull the cameras up in a web browser. There's a lot you can do with IP and IP streaming, but the quality it's not as good as SDI. That's just the long and short of it. So it can be used, and if you want to use it, you can. But if it's a really important production and you can't have a single frame dropped, you want to be on SDI.
Gotcha. Michael wants to know if the two back cameras are hooked up. They should be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. These two cameras up here are
We're
both
all
set
hooked
up. So we're all set. In fact, I shouldn't have let Andy play with the joystick because now they're out of their space that they should be. But let me go ahead. Sorry. And just set these up where we want them. So you can see I'm kind of moving that one there. I want to just get the shot that we used to have there with.
No problem.
Here we go. Let me zoom out. And I'll sit in front. I'll sit where I was on the chairs in my other shot.
Trevor says no mistakes. How do we know it's live then? Laugh out loud.
Good point.
You got us.
Maybe we don't know.
No.
You got us.
But there's no way we would
Now let's
have
go
known
over
your
here.
questions.
That's a good point. Yeah, we are. I mean, there's a live
Sorry about
chat,
that.
so it's not.
Slipping.
There's really no way. No problem. So here we are, Tess. And
There you
I
go.
think this is really turning out pretty good. The only thing I'm seeing is a little bit of coloration on the headphones. So let me just try to just tear it down just a hair.
I lost you.
I'll be back. Hold on.
No, it's
Let
fine.
me just, here it is. Let me put the color key just down just a hair.
I've been trying to use
Okay.
the stinger, but I think I have to replay it because it's
There we go.
not coming up when I'm pressing the space bar.
Look at that. This looks good, doesn't it? Oh, it's a little fuzzy around the sides, but it's not too bad. You know what? These headphones are reflective. If I switch headphones, we might actually be able to get rid of that. All right. Now it's looking pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Wouldn't you say?
Matt Davis
so
said
yeah,
sounds
we've
like
got
Paul
the,
needs some presets.
That's a good point, Matt. I'm going to go ahead and boop. I'm going to make this number 9. Number 9. And that way, if
SDI
I
all the
go,
way, Trevor
if I
says.
zoom out,
Yep.
and actually, doesn't that kind of look cool just in itself?
Whoa. So there's obviously some
hey, this is
fuzziness going on over there, but it's
Yeah,
kind of
well,
cool.
I can fix that, but that is isn't that kind of cool?
Yeah.
Get the fuzz out, and
Do
then
your cameras ever
I mean
support?
that is pretty cool.
Sorry. That is pretty cool.
You know what would be kind of cool? Oh, maybe. So here's the creative time, right? Like now we're live streaming.
Yes.
Everything is working, which is great. The studio is set up. So now it's like now I'm starting to feel comfortable. You know, like I'm everything's working. I'm starting to feel more comfortable about the setup. And
I know
now
exactly
it's time to
the
start brainstorming. Like, how can we make this
Even
look better, look
Yeah.
cooler? What can we do?
Exactly.
So my brain's starting to move, and now because one of the things I was thinking, Tess, is like, wouldn't it be cool if like I put you in there
I want to be
or
there.
something? You know, like something different.
Yeah.
And there is a way to do that, and you've done it before, but you may not know you've done it before.
Yeah.
Hi, how you doing,
Classic
sir?
TV
You wanna come
ads.
in and
I
watch
can
show?
put a link in here for a Dropbox file that has a couple of things that I do have prepared for today to share with you guys.
Oh, you're doing that today, huh?
Yeah, it's not everything, but here's what I do have prepared for you guys today. I'll go ahead and put it in the chat. All I have to do is copy the
Great. Yeah, that was
Dropbox link and paste it in, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
Just copy the
Everyone's
Dropbox
been
link and paste it
saying-
in.
Sorry. Everyone's been saying your mic flag is falling off. It's too
My
low.
mic flag? Oh.
Yeah. No, on your microphone. The one in your hand, Paul.
Oh my gosh, I've been walking around with the lapel mic just like dragging off me. I was only using the lapel when I was interviewing the guys from Starin, and then this has just been like dragging on the floor, but it was off, I think.
Yeah, but
So you weren't hearing it like bobble on the ground.
That's great. Paul, you know the flag on the mic in your hand is that falling off too? This is so funny.
Oh, that. Yeah, that is falling off too. Yes. I know it doesn't go up all the way, but it is. I mean, it almost looks worse than if it was just gone because it's so low.
Yeah. Larry says.
Well, maybe tomorrow I won't use it.
Yeah. Do your cameras ever support bracket frame rates like 59.94?
That we do not support. We do not support full frame rates, and that is the number one question I would say we get. And the good news is that most new systems are not looking for those broadcast frame rates anymore, even if they say they are. For example, the new TriCaster, the brand new TC1. I plugged in one of our cameras at 1080p 60, and it worked completely fine. But because it's a broadcast switcher, it says that it's 59.94. So sometimes you can have a problem with compatibility, but most of the new switchers, especially like the software-based switchers like vMix and Wirecast, they don't care. They'll take anything. They'll take 60. They'll take 30. 50 is PAL. And Tess, just so you know, we're talking about frame rates here. So just a quick synopsis of frame rates, because this will be a good thing for you to learn. And all of these days of live streaming, hopefully you'll learn a lot about this. Yeah. So in Europe, they use something called PAL, and it's a different frame rate. So it's 25 frames a second or 50 frames a second, which is kind of interesting. That's just the way they like to watch their video. And in cinema, it's usually 24 frames a second, which gives you a little bit smoother of an effect. In America, here in North America, we do 30 frames a second. That's why you hear 1080p 30 sometimes. Yeah. And then you can always double it, and you could do 1080p 60. And that our cameras can do 1080p 60. And what that does is it makes it so that all the little teeny details, like a hockey puck or a soccer ball moving really fast, are able to be shown in good detail. So that is the frame rate update. And we do not support broadcast frame rates, but it is becoming less and less of an issue, basically.
Will they ever BMD 2M/E? I don't know what that is. Paul probably does.
What was it? Sorry, Tess?
Will they ever BMD 2M/E? I feel like I'm translating.
Can you show the chat room again? Sure. Put us in the other layout so I can see the chat room.
Yeah. It should be live there.
Would you like to be on the live show?
Yeah.
Well, you are right now. If you take like 2 steps over there, you won't be. There you go. But we are doing a live stream, live production
why not?
on YouTube Live. He's like, I don't want to be on the live stream. It's like, well, you kind of are unless you take 2 steps over. I'm actually scaring people away, but that's all right.
I know, you literally are. Michael says, is there any delay with the joystick and camera? None noticeable to me. But.
So, oh no, that is a great question. I'm getting a lot of great questions on the show. So, serial cabling, RS-232 cabling, like the joystick I was showing you just earlier, never has a delay. It's instantaneous. IP control has a slight delay. So that's one of the things we're all learning about. Everyone wants to do everything over the network. George was asking about SDI or IP. And it's that little bit of delay that makes it difficult to use for live video production. You know, if you know what it's like, Tess, if your audio is a little delayed, you hear an echo.
Yeah. And then
if your video is a little delayed, you freak out, or the lip sync could not work.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about video camera control, there's a little bit more leeway because the camera video is in sync, but the control might be a half a second. Like if you turn the joystick left, it might take a half a second for the camera to move with the IP joystick, depending on your network. With the serial control, it's instantaneous. So I was talking to Martin Sinclair, the CEO of vMix, about that, because vMix can control our cameras via IP, and it's a really nice setup, and I'm doing some demonstrations of that here at our booth. And I was explaining to him, I was like, you're going to take away all our serial joystick controller business. And he said, no, we're not. The serial controllers are instantaneous. And people need instantaneous camera switching and instantaneous camera control.
Larry said that he had a little typo. He said, will they ever support 59.94?
Will we ever? I do believe that it will be on our roadmap. I can let a few. I mean, I think. Let me say something that I like to put things a little bit more, because I'm not allowed to say things that I might know that I'm not allowed to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But here's something that I would say. You're probably going to see a 4K video resolution at a normal frame rate, like 4K 30, than you will broadcast frame rates at 4K. And the whole reason why is that broadcast frame rates are more expensive to build around, and it's a whole nother set of frame rates and resolutions. And we actually support 10 resolutions with these cameras. So we support, going from the bottom up, like 480, which is an SD, in multiple frame rate resolutions. We do 720p 25, 720p 30, 720p 50, 720p 60, 1080p 25, 1080p 30, 1080p 50, 1080p 60. So you start adding the broadcast frame rates in there, and now you're just, you're at, because the amount of resolutions that we support, you're adding just so many more variables for the engineers and the chipsets that are required. So for me personally, I would rather see a 4K 30, which is what I think you'll see first. And then, we're kind of working backwards, and then we would do the broadcast frame rates. But again, I think a lot of the switchers that you're seeing today, even though they may say they support 59.94, 60 will work. The processors are getting faster, and like the new TriCaster, we just posted a video yesterday about it, and it works completely fine.
Mm-hmm. People are mentioning the Blackmagic design.
Well, Blackmagic is probably one of the ones that I would feel like I have to test, because they are the offenders, or maybe we're the offenders. I don't know, but the Blackmagic has been the trickiest. And if you have a specific Blackmagic product you'd like us to test, we can do that. Mm-hmm. With Blackmagic, like I tested the brand new Blackmagic Decklink Duo, the SDI card. And we installed it and plugged our cameras in, and it would do like 1080p 50, but it didn't like 1080p 60. And then I was reading the comments on YouTube. I wish I knew more about this stuff. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to read the comments to learn. But I'm reading the comments, and they're saying maybe we should just change the hertz of the camera to 60 hertz instead of 50 hertz. And so there's a lot of settings that need to be tweaked, but a lot of times the Blackmagic products will definitely work, especially 1080i 60 for whatever reason. Tends to work with Blackmagic, but at this point it has to be a case by case. It's case by case, so product by product. If it's important to you, we will buy it and we will test it. And if you have a Blackmagic product, and you're using it with one of our cameras, let us know, because we want to know. We want to make a certification list, and our knowledge base is chock full of that kind of stuff. And Tess and I are listening to you, and one of our jobs, as you know, Tess, is to kind of take all of this information from the engineers, from the knowledge base, and make it like more accessible. Mm-hmm. And maybe we could do that if Blackmagic continues to be a hot topic. We can.
Larry says, "Test it, please."
Figure out a way. Well, just send us the model number you want tested, Larry, and Tess and I will take note, and we'll get it and we'll test it and we'll make a video. And then, Tess, maybe we should start thinking about maybe making some type of blog post or some type of running list of all the ones we've ever tested or something.
Yeah, we can get that in the works.
So let me give you guys a little show tour here.
Yes, please.
I can't show our booth that well, but here is so down that alley, we're kind of on the side of the show there. So you can, that's like the side. That's the middle over there. And then that's the other wall. This is the South Hall. And literally the South Hall is like the back of the show. It's like the end of the show.
That sounds so sad for some reason. So
down there. Yeah, we're all the way in the back. It's such a popular show. We were further forward last year. but you can still see there's plenty of people walking around.
Yeah, who's close
And
to you?
well, we chose
Storage
this.
DNA.
Yeah, Storage DNA, Arista. We chose this area because it is very close to vMix. It is very close to Wirecast, to NewTek,
Well, that's
and
perfect.
Blackmagic. Actually,
Yeah.
it's actually really close to Blackmagic.
There you go.
It is actually one of the most important halls. This hall is mainly specializing in what's called post-production. So, the camera in the world is kind of like the first thing, right? If you think about it like in a workflow like this, here's the camera, here's the cabling, here's the switcher, then here's the the broadcast switcher, and then here's post-production, if that makes sense, right? And so over here, it's supposed to be North Hall, Central Hall, and then over here in the middle is like Central Hall, and then post-production right here. This is actually South Hall, and it's kind of funny to have a camera manufacturer in the South Hall, but we really value the ability to run right over to vMix and say, hey, why isn't this working? Or run right over to NewTek and say, can you show us this? And I do like the Central Hall. On Tuesday, I get a chance to pick a booth, and I might move us up to Central Hall because it is crazy up there.
Wait, you
Crazy.
could move?
Well, not for next year, for 2018.
Oh, I understand what you're saying. Okay, I was like, well, wouldn't that be a lot of
Yeah.
work today?
You can. That would be quite a lot of work.
Yeah,
Hey,
live
come
stream
sit down,
is in
Tyler.
the Central Hall, so
I
we're
think we
not
have time for
close to them,
one
really.
last interview. Tyler, come sit down. We've got time for one last interview test, and then we'll probably wrap
Great.
it up. Here, put these headphones on.
No problem.
So Tyler, tell me how I got tangled in this. Just kidding. We'll get this off in a second here. Oh my god. There was like a lapel mic hanging. All right, thank you. Oh my. All right. So Tyler's here. Tyler, where are you from?
I'm from Elizabethtown, Kentucky.
Elizabethtown, Kentucky.
We have an
And what company are you
Elizabethtown.
I'm
in
with
PA.
we are Linksnet LLC. We're a contracting company for military at Fort Knox.
Wonderful. And what brings you
Cool.
to the NAB show this year?
So we're here checking out a lot of different systems for. We're looking to expand into 4K for a lot of our promotional videos that we shoot for the military, as well as to support different people around the base in general. Better systems. This is why I'm here at Optics. Here is we're looking to outfit our facilities with more sort of broadcasting without lugging our big E&G cameras into theaters and stuff.
Right.
To give a better representation of what's going on, so we can just send one person out to the different theaters. Run everything from a switcher board, and so we can cut down on crew.
Well, you came to the right place then, because that is really what we do. And Tess, can you go ahead and are you showing us the chat room already, or is the chat room live? Because I want you to be able to see the chat room. They might ask us a couple questions about your setup and what your plans are.
Interesting use for
I
sure.
think Tess has it here.
The
Yeah,
chat
that's a
is
quick
live
video
now.
to use. Okay, good. So I wanted to
Mike.
show you this. Tyler, this is what we're live streaming here. So Tess is there. So yeah, it's to Tess.
Hey.
And then we're below there. The Twitter, social media is there, and then that's the chat room there. And Larry's saying, Tess, this one is not out yet, but would be cool to see this work without needing to have decimators. The new ATEM Television Studio Pro HD. I see. Yeah, they were talking a lot about Blackmagic. Yeah.
Michael
let
says
me
thank
answer
you
your
for
question.
your support of our military.
Absolutely welcome. It's my pleasure to work with the military and support them. We do a lot of stuff with USAREC and promoting all the different military MOSs around the country.
What
So
is it like to be live streaming for the military?
Sorry?
Yeah. Well, I'll ask my question, and then Tess, you can ask yours, I guess. What is it like to be live streaming for the military?
Well, it's really enjoyable. You have a lot of different factors that go into that. So we run a lot of presentations with either graduation ceremonies, so with cadets coming through ROTC, or you have generals retiring. So you got all these different families that come out. And it's just good to see. I've always enjoyed and had great respect for the military growing up. So for me, it's kind of a dream job to be able to work with them.
Yeah.
because I appreciate them so much and what they do. So for me to facilitate both the families of the military as well as those that serve from all sorts of branches of the Army, it's great. It's really cool.
That's amazing. And Tess, did you have a
Absolutely.
question for Tyler while we have him here?
I was just wondering exactly what the content was. I mean, I don't know if it's confidential or something, if it's for the military.
No, not necessarily. Most of our media actually currently goes online, and most of it we're hoping to move forward towards that. So most of what you could find online, if you wanted to, would be to look up the USAREC, United States Army Recruiting Command homepage on YouTube.
Okay.
And a lot of their videos that are up there are made from our contracting outfit at Fort Knox. So those are for the public. That's something that I can say. They're used as recruiting tools for around the country to MOSs, which is military occupational specialties. And so for anyone interested in joining the military or looking to switch MOS jobs to different outfits, that's a great place to go to check them out. And it's a fun place to go. So you go and see a lot of cool stuff that maybe there's different avenues of the Army that you didn't know existed. Just for the public, it'd be a cool place to go check out and see what different jobs that our military provides that a lot of people didn't even know that existed.
Very
Yeah.
interesting. So the
Could you
content
just give us the company
it's really
name one more
educational,
time?
mainly.
Sorry.
So the company name that I particularly work for is Linksnet LLC. They're based out of I want to say it's Virginia, States Virginia. I know that for a fact. I forgot where their headquarters is, but we're just a small contracting company, one of many that they own, and we're based in Fort Knox.
Great.
Very interesting.
What a cool use.
What a fun show, pulling in a lot of people. And I'm sure, Tyler, we probably should go around the booth, look at some things. It's really the end of our show here. You kind of got in at the last minute. Thank you for joining.
Hey, no, absolutely.
Really
Thank you for
appreciate
having me.
Tess, what do you think? What should we? Are we pretty much done here, or
Yeah, I think that we're pretty much
what
done. If
was the
there's any
idea?
other
One
questions
full
in the
hour?
chat.
Is that what we were?
Yep.
Were we
probably
going for one
shooting
full hour?
yeah, I have the studio booked for an hour.
Okay.
so
there's
basically
so
it's
there's 8
ours for
minutes
that
left.
time.
We're just kind of hanging out for another 8 minutes. I guess that's great. And we've got a little chat room here who everyone's just kind of joining in the NAB, because not everyone can come to NAB.
No.
Yeah, we've
You
got
know,
50 people
so-
watching right now interested to see what we're doing and I love hearing the different
On
uses.
YouTube is this.
So it's PTZOptics. Oh, you're texting one of your friends so they can see you live?
Yeah, I got some guys at the company that are.
Okay. Yeah.
Where you at?
Yeah. Just tell them PTZOptics YouTube channel, and if they go soon, we'll still be live. And of course, it's all recorded too, and it's all done in 1080p.
But yeah, you could go
we've
back
been-
and
we're gonna be
watch it or
And I'll kind of answer your initial question about, going mobile, and also one of the things you mentioned is trying to reduce the manpower needed to put on a production.
Right. No, it's really cumbersome. I've been in this industry for about 8 years now. If you wanted to count college, 4 more years. But it's always cumbersome to get a full crew together, especially with a small outfit like ours, where there's only about I think 11 of us employed. And sometimes we get really busy, and it takes a lot to send 3 people out there, 1 guy to run PA and 2 guys to at least provide minimal support for camera work. And that crew needs to get larger if you have someone go out to our booth to run also live streaming or webcasting. So to be able to have it all switch from the booth is a place that we're trying to move towards. We have an old system in there that runs off really old BNC. It was installed back in the early 2000s. Runs 720i, old interlaced, and it's going out, and they're mainly used as like security cameras, so we can keep track of what's going on. But hopefully, we're looking to move forward and integrate a new system to help support our base a little more.
Great. Yeah. One of the main things that you can do with PTZ cameras is you can put like 2 on a tripod, for example, 1 on the left side, 1 on the right side, and have a single person operate 2 cameras.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like really one of the main value adds, even if it's 4 cameras or 100 cameras. I think 8 is about the most I've ever seen personally. with one person operating them all. But it can be done very easily. So you're not the only one. Trust me. Everyone's trying to, how can we do a great production, live stream it, but only do it with 1 or 2 people?
Yep.
Yeah, and that's really important. It really is. It cuts down on manpower. Honestly, brings up morale, especially if you're bringing in, most of the people we bring in are usually right out of college. It's a really interesting job for people just coming right out of college or just have a couple of years. So they come out there and they're like, oh man, this is super cool. Get to work for the military, get to do cool stuff with cameras. And so if we can keep upgrading our technologies, it creates a new environment for people just starting out in the industry to get to play with some really cool toys that a lot of other high-end professional companies, not that we're not professional ourselves, but bigger companies out there, it's a great place for people to learn just getting into the industry that get to come and work for us.
Yeah, one of the nice things about today's technology is that a lot of things they were talking about in 2015 and 2016, like it's here today in 2017. So you can kind of leapfrog a few technologies if you're, depending on how long it has taken you to upgrade. You're going to be doing quite a nice little leapfrog into probably some great HD video streaming technology, which we're going to take a look at in just a moment here. We've got everything set up. We've got the vMix systems here. We've got the new Tech TriCaster systems on the right, because we basically are just the camera. Right. So we're showcasing all the different types of streaming systems independent, so we can kind of be agnostic, you know, and give you, that way, one of the things I really like to do for people who stop by is give them an unbiased opinion. I might be a little biased because I have my favorite, you know, and I'll tell you what it is.
Absolutely.
But basically, we're not selling that. You know, we don't sell the TriCasters or the vMix or the Wirecast or the Mimo Live or all the other platforms. We don't. So it doesn't. You can believe me when I tell you. I think from what you're telling me, Wirecast is the best option because you're a Mac user. The Wirecast is one of the best ones for Mac. Or you know, you've got a broadcast system with multiple different integrated, you know, TriCaster systems. Well, you've already got that infrastructure in place. Maybe the new Tech TriCaster is the best. Or if you're a Windows user and you want to use your laptop, maybe you want to use a gaming computer to save money, I would probably tell you vMix is probably the best option. And we can start looking at the different platforms. So we try to do a really unbiased opinion. And Tess over there in Philadelphia is using vMix.
We're on vMix call right now.
We kind of had to choose, because one of the other things that I've told a lot of people, and Tess, you know this well, is that when it comes to video production and live streaming, you don't have time to learn them all.
Yeah.
You know? And
you got to be a master
spend
of
a lot
one
of time
at least.
learning one.
Yeah. That's where I'm at
So
right
you
now.
got to make that choice up front, and you make that choice, and then you really learn that system, and you dedicate yourself to that one, because then you can at least be good at something.
Yeah.
And Tess is starting to become really good with vMix. You should see her.
Thank
She
you.
produced this whole show.
Yeah, and I can attest to that. Before I got the job where I'm working now at Fort Knox, I did a lot of freelancing. And one of the companies that I freelanced for was called Ridgefield Video. They're based out of Shepherdsville, Kentucky. And they go and film saddle-bred horse competitions. And so their outfit was used to be all Macs using a Blackmagic system. And so we used Wirecast. And since that company purely was, it was just a family-run company, great people to work with, and they've since grown to bigger and better things. They're now running, I forget what rig it is, but it's a massive rig that they built themselves, still using Blackmagic system. I don't think they use Wirecast anymore since they moved away from Mac, but I remember those early days of the company. It was a trick learning it, especially since you were getting people coming in. They were just hiring whoever they could fresh out of college to come help, because it takes a lot of crew to film a horse show. You got a lot of people out there getting different angles, and then you got all these cameras that customers want all a shot of each of their horses that are in that ring all at the same time doing the show. So really cool environment to work in, great opportunity. But I can attest that doing streaming, you really got to have someone dedicated to come in and really pay attention to the system and learn it like the back of their hand to get a hold of it. So,
and go through and do it 5 times and figure out those little issues that keep popping up, and watch your live stream and rewatch it. Figure out where the audio was good, where was it bad. We've been through it all, and you know what Tessa is reminding me of is, do you have the streaming awards video? Can we play that for Tyler?
I should have it. It might take me a second
And
here.
the reason why I want to show you this, Tyler and Tess, was just kind of popped in my mind. So in June, the last Friday of June, we're hosting the Streaming Awards, the 2017 Streaming Awards. And there's different categories of live streaming. And it just reminded me, Tess, do you think the military streaming is technically its own category?
I have to look into it because it's not something I'm so familiar with, but I could totally see it being its own category. I mean, Tyler can
like
tell us.
Government.
Actually, I can't. Streaming is something that we're new getting into, so I actually don't know all the facets of it myself. That's one of the main reasons we're here at NAB, is to figure out whether the systems we want to include in general to just record on a daily basis rather than using the ENG cameras we have, but to also then move forward with streaming. So for during the summers, we have the entire cadet command come down to Fort Knox, which is where they're based, but all the cadets from around the country come to the cadet summer training, and then they have these big graduations. And right now there is a couple of interns that come in and do some live streaming, but it's like live streaming it off of an iPad to like Facebook or something. So we're wanting to move forward to incorporate a system where we can fully live stream and give a really good production quality to these graduations for these cadets that come through. So that is something that we're looking towards moving into. But as of right now, there's no, I couldn't tell you any input because we don't know anything about it ourselves at this point in time.
It's such a growing industry that it's going to be difficult for us, Tess, to nail down every category. And we might have to, I think the best thing to do on the first year, this is the first year we're doing the streaming awards, is to maybe keep the categories fairly broad.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe you could apply to win the best production, best producer. Because if we go into every single category, it could become a complete mess. Do you have that video, Tess? If you don't worry about it. It's no problem.
I got it.
You got it? Okay, so I want to show you this. I think this is interesting.
Introducing the first annual 2017 Streaming Awards. Now accepting nominations for several video production categories, including Best Show, Best Host, Best Co-Host, Best Producer, and much, much more. The 2017 Streaming Awards will air the last Friday in June. Visit www.streamingawards.com to nominate your favorite online live streaming show. Prizes include PTZOptics second generation live streaming cameras, video production software, and much, much more.
Thank you for playing that, Tess.
No problem.
So that is something maybe you'd be interested in maybe applying for.
Yeah, sounds like we need to get on the ball.
You need to start making some good live streams so you can win.
I am going to look into
All right, well,
this
thank you
as
so
soon
much,
as the
Tess.
show's over. Paul, what internet
that's really
speed
cool.
do we use when streaming from vMix for a vMix call?
So,
I'm not sure.
I'll tell you one thing is that I decided to send you 720p video because I wasn't sure how it was going to go, and I wanted to do 720. So everything that you saw in this live stream was 720.
Interesting.
But
Did anybody
1080p
notice?
is capable. It is capable of 1080, and everything went so smoothly this time, Tess. I'd like to
Yeah.
do 1080 tomorrow, and it
Yeah.
should look a little crisper and a little nicer.
Can experienced
a lot of
streamers
people-
just... Sorry. I was wondering if experienced streamers, people more experienced than me, and maybe you can tell me in the chat, can you tell, what resolution the stream is at, but without knowing? Like, do you think people in the chat knew that you were at 720?
Well, one of the interesting things, first of all, so you're streaming in 1080, so that gives you 1920 by 1080 resolution
Here's
to
what that looks
play
like.
with, and
Can you
like
tell the
right now,
difference?
see, there you're 1080, and that's full 1080. But the funny thing is that when you show me in the little box, that's just a part of 1080, right? That's just like 320 by 2040. So yeah, I think that there is a difference, and tomorrow we'll do 1080p. There's also something, Tess, you're gonna knowledge overload today. This is something that I would
Yes,
never really
I'm
go
learning a lot.
into. But there's also megabits per second. And what that is basically 1080p is just a resolution. It's like television's 1080p. but the megabits per second is the amount of data that you're streaming. So megabytes are files on your computer. Megabits are being streamed. So even though you're doing 1080p, it needs to be compressed and then streamed. And the compression that you use can basically fill up a certain pipeline. And that pipeline is measured in megabits per second. So I actually did a high-level bandwidth pipe of 720p, so a very high-quality 720p pipeline. So I think it was 8 megabits, possibly. I could be wrong. I have to double check. I could check right now. But that's basically what you would do is you would look at your pipeline and see, and I can take the look at this. So I'm doing 720p at 1200 and return video, okay, to host. And next time we'll do 1080. And I mean, we have a huge pipeline here at the NAB show. So I'm going to, the next show, I think there will be a noticeable increase in quality in general.
Alrighty, the chat, everybody's having a lot to say about what they use. Nathan says, RVP generally streams at 720 because it's a safe bet. Frame rate is far more noticeable in live streams than resolution. If we have higher bandwidth, we opt for high frame rate over resolution.
Look at that.
Yep. Yeah, no, Nathan's a good one to go to. He used to run RVP, what he's referring to. That's the Richfield video production for the horse shows that I mentioned earlier. He's the one that designed and built their web streaming system and Windows machines. So he knows what he's talking about.
Sounds like
that is a great tip. Yeah, and there's I think that this show is highly educational for people that are watching.
Yeah, for
and,
me,
we're getting great questions, and we're also getting great answers from the chat room, because that's something that we forgot to even mention. Frame rate's more important than the resolution.
Be taking notes?
And I think 720p is well, and here's something though on the note of frame rate though, is that 60 frames per second will double your bandwidth. So if you're doing 720p 30, that's usually, as long as it's getting through properly and you've got a high level of bandwidth to make sure that those frames are accurately staying in sync, then you're fine. The only reason that you would want to, when you go from 1080p 30 to 1080p 60, it's double the bandwidth immediately, because you're doubling the amount of frames that you're sending. And I've really almost never seen anyone do that, because you're just overloading your pipeline. And it's not just you. You might have enough bandwidth, but can Facebook process all of that and send it out properly? Probably not. In fact, Facebook does have some specifications, and they actually say that they want 720p at 8 megabits per second. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I was told that at 30 frames per second. 720p, 30 frames a second. I believe it's 8 megabits compression, and that's like their ideal format, and that's what you should probably send them, because they're telling you that. Now, YouTube can do 4K.
Yes, they can.
They can do 1080 60. And I have never done it. And I actually test if you could write that down, we should do a 1080p 60 test one of these days.
I feel like we might have accidentally, because that sounds very familiar to me when I'm setting up the ingestion settings. We may have
maybe
already.
We'll do it. Maybe if, depending on how the live show goes tomorrow, we could do a little follow-up test or something. But I think we did 720p 30 today. I sent you 720p 30. Tomorrow we'll do 1080. And then if everything goes well, maybe we'll do 1080p 60, which would be kind of crazy. I could run around and who knows what.
Try to get some motion blur going. Come in, do a little dance for everybody.
Would you mind coming for that?
Hey, if you all are doing it, I'll come back, check out what you guys are doing tomorrow.
I mean, can we do the dance?
If you do it with me.
All right, that's a
Paul
deal.
will dance with you 150%.
That's a deal. All right.
Are you guys dancing or what?
Not right now. We're talking about tomorrow, Tez.
Oh, I went full screen with you and
test.
all. Darn it.
I got to zoom out. No, we'll test. I think today has been a very successful first live stream. I don't remember any issues. So that's great.
All right.
So let's go
Mike-
ahead and wrap this one up, I guess.
Yeah,
Unless
Mike
you have
Latta is
more
telling me
questions?
World of Live Streaming is streaming now. So he's going to that show. All right, we're all
Okay.
headed over there, I guess. All right, so
All right.
that is it for today.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you so
joining
much
us,
for
Tyler.
watching.
All right,
Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you all for having me.
no
Fun
problem.
show.
Thanks, everyone, for
Bye.
watching. And we are recording.
And that's all, folks. We appreciate your participation in the chat room and can't wait to host our next informative Q&A session. Your questions drive the conversation forward for live streaming professionals around the world. Until next time, happy streaming!